The Maori people have many enemies. Many forces threaten the well-being of Maori. Many issues hinder Maori prosperity. Strong Maori leadership must acknowledge and address all of them. The enemies of Maoridom are both external and internal. Racism is one external enemy. Vicious racism empowers anti-Maori politicians and policies. Vicious racism can deprive Maori of the opportunity and security enjoyed by other races. Another external force is colonization and its legacy. The consequences of dispossession and assimilation. The poverty, the sense of hopelessness, the sense of anger and frustration. And there are also the internal enemies, many of which result from the sense of hopelessness and anger. Vile domestic abuse that creates an intergenerational cycle of poverty and violence. Gangs that plague Maori communities with drugs and brutality. Deranged activists who go too far. They normalise racism and make Maori causes look bad. They undermine pro-Maori political objectives by presenting a crude caricature of them. Maori face extensive challenges. It must never be forgotten that these challenges are both external and internal. Racism, colonisation, poverty, gangs, domestic abuse, deranged activism. The list is a long one. Acknowledging and addressing these threats is imperative. If Maori leaders can do this, they can lead Maori to the prosperity that they desire and deserve. Should they fail, the many hideous inequalities will continue to plague Maori. Failure is simply not an option, yet it is what we continually see. Part of the problem is that Maori society, like any society, is defined by class hierarchy. Maori leadership does not always serve all Maori. Like any leaders, Maori leaders are often incompetent and self-serving. But the rigid hierarchies of whakapapa that are essential to Maori culture make grassroots movements rather difficult. Instead, we see an almost feudal group of leaders who are disconnected from common Maori. People like Rawiri Waititi are more interested in self-serving activism and theatrics than public service. So long as the paycheck is coming, who really cares? And empty activism is a good way to get a paycheck. A new generation of Maori leaders is needed. And by a new generation, I do not mean a more energised version of the last generation. That is not the solution to anything. I mean something fundamentally different. Something deeply democratic and ruthlessly rational. People who are not afraid to call out the worst members of their own communities. People who understand that they face both internal and external enemies. People who are not afraid to weed out the enemies within. People who can do away with the suffocating sense of hopelessness that feeds the intergenerational cycle. That is what is needed.